And welcome back to the Delaware Boys Dynasty Football Podcast with your host in the top left corner, our co-host and our special guest on the bottom, as always, AJ and Frankie. Welcome back, everybody. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day weekend. Happy Mother's Day to my beautiful wife over there. First Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. Ryan, your mother, Frankie, mom, wife, AJ, same thing. Happy Mother's Day to everybody. What'd you guys do this weekend?
Just celebrated the moms, man. Went out with the wife, saw my own mom, made sure everybody's mom was happy. That's what you got to do on Mother's Day, man. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't got kids. I was with my mom. My mom actually worked most of the day, which sucked. But as soon as she got back, she came home to all these for gifts and dinner. So that's about it.
Shout out moms.
Ryan, your screen froze. Check your screen real quick. There you go. All right, we're good.
Right.
Yeah, wife just took her out to breakfast, things like that. Just had to celebrate her, make sure they know they're special. All the moms out there, just want you guys to know you guys are appreciated and loved. But sports, AJ's bet looks really good. Dallas in the 2-2 series with Phoenix got the second dub today. Chris Paul, 5 points, fouled out in the third quarter. Phenomenal game by Dallas overall team. Need Philly to come back tonight, make it a 2-2 series. They're down 2-1 right now.
Chris Paul's played poor the last two games.
Very poor.
He had 6 turnovers through a quarter and a half, game 3. I mean, that's never
he looked
never a good recipe for your point guard.
No, he looked real uncomfortable in that game. I don't know what it was. He wasn't getting around screens well. I don't know. That's not like Chris Paul. What else we got? Playoff hockey. Penguins up 2-1. Let's go. But the main point of this podcast, the four of us from the time we recorded last to now decided to start our own league. 4 commissioners, don't really see it very often, but we did it. 12 team startup, super flex, different kind of roster lineup. QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end, 5 flex spots, and then your super flex spot. We each invited 2 people. We'll share those people as we go down. But the biggest thing was I've never played in a thing where I only had to roster one of each position, then the flexes. It was a little bit different. I enjoyed it. It was a fun draft. Crazy draft from the jump. I mean, trades galore. I can't even count the amount of trades we've had in this draft.
It was over 20. It was over 20.
Crazy.
2 minutes.
And the board early went exactly how I thought it would. And then we got to pick 9.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It didn't take long.
Yeah, then we got to
It's always that one person.
Always the one. But you know what? Like I said, to each their own. I don't think there's a horrible team in the league. I think there are teams that are better than others, but they're going to build through the 2023 draft. There's teams with a shit ton of picks and capital going into next year. So we're going to talk about it, boys. The draft's not over yet. We're going in around 16 out of 25? Yeah, 16. But we're going to break down what we have now. Ryan, I'll let you start. Anything that jumped out in the first round as surprising or anything like that?
I mean, of course, we already touched on it. I mean, CMC at 9 feels criminal to me, but maybe that's just me. Everybody's got different strategies. If he stays healthy, sure, he'll be a top 3 back pretty much no matter what, but he hasn't seen the field consistently in 2-3 seasons now. So big part of fantasy is availability, and he just hasn't been there. I just would rather not take the risk in the first round when you can just go get a quarterback and a super flex with 8 points for a touchdown, like Dak Prescott, instead of taking the risk in CMC.
I think he could have got McCaffrey in the second round at his spot. But hey, if that's your guy, go get your guy. I'm not the one to go get that guy.
I agree.
Because if he does hit, he might look like a genius. Just say he plays 14 games this year and you get prime CMC. I mean, we're all going to look back and be like, damn, maybe I should have took him.
Yeah.
I promise you I won't think that I should have took Christian McCaffrey at any point during this fantasy football season. But the shocker in the first round to me was right here on this very podcast. AJ in this very, very podcast said that at 1-2 at wide receiver, he would go Cooper Kupp over Justin Jefferson. And AJ had the opportunity to do that. And he
he did it.
completely hedged
Well, they
his
were
bet.
both available. I went quarterback. I
Completely
went Dak
hedged his
Prescott.
bet and went quarterback instead. He
I never said
didn't
I would take a
either
wide receiver over quarterback, though.
I just
I
wanted
said
to
I would
see.
take Cup over
I just
Jefferson.
wanted to see it, man. I just wanted to see it. Is all.
I had
You
the
said-
opportunity to take either one, and I elected to go quarterback, which, in my opinion, is the smarter route. But to kick off the trade-in, I did move up to 201 to acquire a Cooper Cup.
Yes, you did. You did go get your guy.
Now, do you think Cooper Cup would have been available to you on the backslide? Because you would pick 10. Do you think Cup makes it?
I didn't. I thought Randy would snag Jeff. Once I saw him get Jefferson at 11, and then I think Najee went at 12. That's when I hit the guy up for the 201. I hit him as soon as he hit Harris. I said, "What do you want for that pick?" I sent him an offer. He accepted without even responding. And
Well, he
because I
traded
thought
his first pick.
no, did he?
Yeah, he traded his
Oh,
first,
okay.
first two.
No, he traded that pick. Yeah. I thought it was after I traded.
Yeah,
So,
Ryan's,
you're right.
Ryan's brother took Najee at 112. Ryan's brother traded to get Najee.
Yeah, but I thought Randy would pair up Jefferson and Cup. I know Randy likes his wide receivers, which he did go wide receiver heavy in the first 4 rounds. So I don't see why he would not have taken him unless he was set on taking Trey Lance, who he grabbed at the 202. Which I would not have touched that pick. I don't want any parts of Trey Lance right now. After what I'm seeing out of their camp. That's a whole nother topic. But me getting Cooper Cup there at 201 and then grabbing Swift at the 203 gave me a quarterback, a running back, and a wide receiver, all top tier in my opinion at the position. Really solidified my foundation, and I was able to be flexible the whole draft and just basically draft best available.
My question to you is, if Melvin Gordon doesn't sign back in Denver, I know you're not on the Javonte train as much as most in this podcast here right now. Would you taking Javonte over Swift? If Gordon,
I don't think so. I've liked Swift since Georgia. I never liked the landing spot. He's kind of overcame the landing spot when he's on the field. I mean, he proves he's a really good running back, good pass catcher out of the backfield. What I touched on there is when he's on the field. I took the risk there. I mean, he has missed games each of his first 2 seasons, but I mean, that's what fantasy is about, taking that boom or bust pick. I think he's more boom than bust. But I like what Detroit's doing. I think they have pieces all around them except the quarterback position. But Jared Goff, I mean, he has led a team to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying it's the same squad as a Sean McVay ran team, but if they can rely on Swift there and keep him on the field, I like it.
Yeah, I own Swift in multiple leagues as well. Just so you know, over 18 points per game in fantasy last year in 13 games. You put a 17-game slate, he's running back 5. 13 games, he finished running back 15, a viable running back 2, and he missed 4 games. He missed 4 games, like you said. To me, a true number 1 back, however you look at it. And I'm not mad at the pick. I'm very high on Swift as well. Some people in here do not want to draft because of a team, but things in the NFL change constantly. Regimes change, coaches change, front offices change. Things change all the time in the NFL constantly. I think the Lions are on the right track. I think the Jets are on the right track. Those are teams that I bought into, and I'm okay with it. I guess my question to you is, out of the quarterbacks, first 3 QBs, Allen, Herbert, Mahomes, with the situations changing, Tyreek Hill leaving Kansas City, are you still drafting Mahomes 2? Are you okay with him taking Herbert 2, Mahomes falling to 3?
I think it's fine the way it went. That's how I have them ranked right now. The hit of losing Tyreek Hill is got to affect Mahomes on everybody's rankings as far as the quarterback. With Tyreek there, to me, I still put him over Allen. I know that's bold, but I mean, it's Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek and Kelsey. You see what he does every year. Hasn't shown anything why he shouldn't be at the top. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of those 3, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, I had all 3 of those.
Yeah. True.
as interchangeable at 1-1 there. So I wouldn't have been shocked if any one of those three went at the first overall pick. So
Yeah.
Actually, if you go into Patrick Mahomes' deep stats without Tyreek Hill, he plays fine without him.
Yeah.
So I'm not really too worried. But yeah, there's three in any order is fine.
Yeah. I have Herbert too. Just an ascending young kid on a really good team. No, and we always talk about offensive line protection is huge. They added to the O-line this year in the draft as well. Weapons didn't change. Heavy pass volume expected again. I have Herbert 2, Mahomes 3. Very close between all three of them, though. Just give me the upside of the rushing for Josh Allen. That's why I have him at 1. I had the 6th pick. I had to take Lamar Jackson.
Didn't have to.
you didn't have
Yeah,
to.
you didn't have to.
I didn't have to.
You
but-
could have taken McCaffrey.
Yeah.
You could have. He was available.
In this league, though, 12 teams. I wanted to lock up a QB early. I locked up both of my QBs early.
Both division rivals, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, I know. It's fucking stupid.
And one might not play this year.
Yeah, I know.
Or
But
half the year at least.
4 games. I'm going to predict 4. But
Gotta be at least half. We're looking at 8.
I'm waiting for an update that says 1 year suspension.
what's half of 17, Ryan? 8.5 games?
The over under on our Broncos bet.
9 games.
All right, you go ahead and lose your 2nd overall pick for half the season and come back
Right.
and talk.
Well, I mean,
to
the
us about
thing is,
8.5
like-
games. That's still a lot. 8 is a lot.
Long term, right. And like if that does happen this season, okay, I get it. But long term, you know, I mean, there's not many better in the game than Deshaun Watson. I'm perfectly okay with rostering him for a year. And
But
having to eat.
question
So my
for
only
you.
pushback to that is, at that point, how long has it been since he's played good football?
That's what I was
Like,
going to get at.
You're saying, okay, like, yeah, he's great. He's great. He was great. The last 2019 was the last great season he had. 2020 wasn't great. He was okay. I
He
mean,
was a
yeah,
top
little
5
banged
QB in
up.
2020.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just saying 2020 he wasn't as good as 2019. That's all I said. I didn't say
But
anything
20
crazy.
My thing about it is 2020, 2019, 2018, he finished his QB5.
Okay, so if he gets suspended for 1 whole year, that's
Okay.
3 years removed from 2020, right? That's a
It'd
long
be-
time, man.
It would be 2. No play in 2021, obviously.
I just said if he gets suspended for a year, he would play in 2023. So 3 years after 2020 is 2023, right?
Well, the thing is, he missed 2021. He'll miss 2022. That's 2 years missed. Then he'll come
Yeah.
back in 2023. God damn it, Frankie. But anyway,
Sure.
now so the thing about Watson, I'm all in on the talent. I've always believed in the talent. He's a talented guy. I don't think he's just going to lose it. Granted, 2 years off the field is probably concerning, but at that point, with the way QBs were falling, I mean, at that point, it was Trey Lance, and actually Trey Lance wasn't available. It was the next best QB that came off the board at that was Stafford. This team of mine is relatively young. Watson is my oldest player on my roster at this point. When it comes to my starting lineup, I'm going to ride on the talent here because the QB after Stafford, I believe, was Jalen Hurts, and we've all talked about Jalen Hurts on this podcast.
You skipped
and
over Russ.
You did
Russ.
skip Russ, but
Russ
Russ.
went before Stafford.
Yeah.
Russ was the next quarterback taken after Watson. You're high on the Broncos. So how
Yeah.
come you didn't go with the guy that's not suspended on a much better offense, in your opinion, this year?
I guess my question about it, or my thing about it was I like to build my dynasty teams relatively young with competitive players that are gonna play for me for the next 7 to 10. I've always believed in Watson. Watson has been an elite QB since he's come into the league. And like I said, I don't think he just loses that. 2 years off the field is concerning. If I don't like what I see, I can always sell him for a discount, sell him cheap, and then just rebuild from there. But as of now, I still have Watson as an elite QB play, and I'm willing to ride it. I'm willing to ride with that.
It's gotta be tough though if you move Watson, getting low value for your 2nd round pick in a startup.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it can be. That's what, like AJ said, fantasy is all about taking risks. It could be a boom pick, it can be a bust pick. For me, it stands out as a boom, especially with all the shit that he's been through over the last year and a half. I had him in AJ's league, traded him for fucking Baker Mayfield and Jerry Jeudy, And if I waited another month, the value shoots up drastically. That trade that AJ had for Deshaun Watson, it was a drastic difference in what I paid versus what AJ paid. So I think his name will hold value alone. So
Fair enough.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Somers.
You good?
What made you trade up for Matt Stafford right behind Russ? Transition right into that.
So listen, I traded up before I even made my selection. So I went Taylor and then Javonte back to back picks. And looking at like 2 QB leagues, I still want to get a guy in my QB1 spot. I was afraid had I not traded up, I was gonna end up with like I'm not even looking at the board right now, but like Jalen Hurts, he would have even been gone. I would have missed another run at quarterbacks, and I would rather just. And I got a good deal on the pick. On top of that, didn't even think about it. But no, I just needed a quarterback, needed the stability. Matt Stafford's got Cooper Kupp. They've been rocking. I ride him out until he wheels fall off with McVay.
I'm with you all on up in Stafford.
Yeah. Yeah, Ryan back-to-back running backs, and Frankie back-to-back wide receivers. Frankie QB1 is Trevor Lawrence. You got good old sunshine. Are you
Yes,
hoping?
sir.
Are you hoping for a drastic? Obviously, you're hoping. What do you think year 2 looks like for Trevor Lawrence?
I think Trevor Lawrence takes a huge step forward. I think Trevor Lawrence's year 2 looks a lot like Trevor Lawrence's week, 18 from last season. He tore the Colts apart. Big reason that Carson Wentz is no longer in Indianapolis is because Trevor Lawrence actually looked like Trevor Lawrence for the last game of the season.
Thank you, Trevor. Steelers in the playoffs, baby. Thank you, Trevor.
I think they went out and got Christian Kirk to boost the offense. I'm not a huge Christian Kirk guy, but he is a guy. So he's better than what they had last year. Last year, they were throwing to their backups due to injuries and suspensions and things like that. So I think Trevor Lawrence has a huge year 2. I was kind of shocked that I was able to get him as the third rookie or the third second year quarterback off the board. So I'll take Trevor Lawrence all day. So I talked about it a little bit on our quarterback pod, but I think Trevor Lawrence has a huge bounce back in 2022. I think ETN coming back is going to help that a lot as well. So.
Yeah, wide receivers are stacked for you. Jamar Chase back-to-back with AJ Brown. It was a great pairing. And shout out to you, Ryan, as well. Great pairing for you, Javonte Williams and Jonathan Taylor. And I'm not going to get too into it, but you and your 1,500 touch rule, you got to be looking to trade Taylor just off value alone soon. I know you are.
I mean, I missed on a quarterback. I missed the quarterback lottery. So take Taylor. Sheer value alone, give me a loan. And if I can't get what I want for him, guess what? I'll just still end up having the Dynasty 1 running back on my team. It's not like it's
Yeah, darn.
Yeah, darn you.
Yeah, oh crap. What am I
The
gonna
guy
do
that's
now?
in his own tier.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. But no, I am
And
gonna
he
look
said
for
that he's the exception to his rule before as well. So he said Taylor might be that guy.
Yeah, he did say that.
might be that guy.
But I'm ready to nip this in the butt now. Second round, drafted Watson at 2.7, traded up heavily to the 2.12. Yes, I went against my own rule, fellas. I took Kyle Pitts instead
Let's
of
elaborate on that one.
Yeah,
so
I've been ready for this since.
Yeah,
for those of you who
Let's
don't
let
remember,
let
for
Frankie.
those of you who don't remember or who are new to the show, let's just give a little refresher here. When we did our tight end pod or our tight end show, Stephen Chalmers here decided he was going to say that Mark Andrews was his tight end 1. So when Stephen Chalmers decided he was going to trade back in to the end of the second round and take a tight end, you could imagine everybody on this video's amazement when the tight end that came off the board was none other than Mr. Kyle Pitts, the ATLian himself, not one Mark Andrews.
Here's the thing with me. All right, you go get Lamar, right?
Why not get the stack? Stack them up, bro.
He was like he said one Raven is enough.
I have 2. I have Dobbins. I traded you for Dobbins.
Oh yeah, he did.
No, in all seriousness though.
He's the closet Ravens fan.
Yeah. Let me sign my application.
All
Anyway.
the Steelers fans, man.
But anyway, with that, you guys are right. Mark Andrews, I said, was my tight end one. The thing about it is I bought into Kyle Pitts just based off the name value alone. Kyle Pitts is going to draw you more in a trade than Mark Andrews will in a dynasty format.
Fair.
Also, I think, like I told you, Andrews has that 2 to 3 year window where he can compete for that tight end one spot. Meanwhile, Kyle Pitts, I think, is good for 7 to 10. Long term, like I said, anybody in my starting lineup, the oldest player is 26 years old, and that would be Deshaun Watson. A very relatively young team. I have a very and I wanted to keep that rolling. Kyle Pitts, 21 years old, can now buy tobacco, legally. Young dude. And like you said, rookies, only one other rookie in NFL history has had 1,000 yards in his rookie year, that being Mike Ditka back in the 60s. I'm gonna ride it. I'm gonna ride with Kyle Pitts, and and that's just it. That's what we're gonna do, boys.
So how many days until you start talking to Frankie about a Kyle Pitts trade?
Actually, I said that in the group chat yesterday that I think Kyle Pitts will be traded to Frankie this year.
Oh, that's
Not
a bold
gonna
prediction.
No, I texted that to you, Ryan, didn't I? It was you, right? Or I didn't say in the group chat, but yeah, I think Frankie will own Kyle Pitts this year, probably.
Yeah,
Not
Probably.
gonna happen.
Because I don't own tight ends. You guys know tight ends are not my thing, but
I'll take them.
I
I
switched.
got the
green.
tight end goat, TJ Hawkinson, man.
I
Was able to
switched to
grab my
green.
boy in the fifth.
Snipe me.
In that tight end podcast, AJ did open up my eyes a little bit as to why the elite tight ends are important, and I wanted to try it. So that was a strategy I went with. I was actually pretty happy with how it turned out.
So how do you guys feel? We kind of skimmed over it. I saw Deli's face when Chalmers said it, though. How you guys feel about the 2 wide receivers I drafted? I'm pretty fond of them myself. Obviously, I drafted them, but how you guys feel about it? AJ Brown and Jamar Chase.
Bro, it's Jamar Chase. It's Jamar Chase.
yeah.
I like it. It's just I'm really on the fence on how AJ Brown's going to do with Jalen Hurts. Is Jalen Hurts an upgrade or downgrade from Tannehill? I think that's yet to be seen. Jalen Hurts is still, quote unquote, improving. I don't know how I feel about him. Everybody wants him to be TO because of the size. I don't know.
think anybody wants him to be Teal. I think people want
Philly
him to be Julio.
fans,
Let's be
we
fair
all know
about that.
Eagle fans are the craziest fans out there.
Fair enough.
They're like, this is the best wide receiver since T.O. I mean, the best one they had before
that's-
that was
that's
Jeremy
true.
Maclin.
That is true, though.
That's
They're
true.
not wrong.
Yeah, they're not wrong.
I'm just saying, Eagle fans. I know we've all seen it on Facebook since the trade. They're like, so I don't know how I feel about it, honestly.
So
I
my
love
only
AJ Brown.
My only rebuttal to that would be, you said yourself, do you think that Tannehill is an upgrade over Hurts? And that's obviously true.
And that's what I
But
said. I don't know.
Hold on. But before Ryan Tannehill played with AJ Brown, would you have said that about Ryan Tannehill, or would you have said he was basically Jalen Hurts, athletic, ran a lot, inaccurate? Then he plays with a guy like AJ Brown. All of a sudden, he's a good quarterback, right? So why can't AJ Brown make Jalen Hurts better?
No, that's fair. It's a very fair point. Like I said, I've seen the history of Philly receivers. I kind of play track records a little bit in fantasy sports, and Eagles wide receivers, regardless of who's there throwing the ball, typically isn't that great. Kind of average. Outside of, like I said, Jeremy Maclin had one good touchdown year, I think. But AJ Brown's a better wide receiver than Jeremy Maclin. I don't want anybody thinking I'm comparing the two. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know how I feel about him in Philly. I kind of just rather go a different direction than drafting AJ Brown. If he hits, he hits. I'm not going to be surprised.
Sure. That's why I asked the question. What you got,
I'll
Doug?
give you my flowers, though. I'm a receiver guy, and I got caught up running backs this class, but Jamar Dynasty 1, he'll be good with Burrow for as long as they play football together, which for me is forever. I love the talent in AJ Brown. He was my Dynasty 3. I don't love Tannehill. I don't think there's going to be much of a difference between the two.
Same.
As long as he gets a healthy season in, I think he'll be just fine there. But AJ brings up points, though. Eagles receivers, past few decades. I don't even know. Years have been just fucking terrible.
Listen, I don't disagree. You probably won't ever meet a bigger Eagles hater than me, but I love AJ Brown, to be fair, as a player. So that's where I'm at with that. I just think his talent is going to boost Hurts. I don't think he's going to boost Hurts to be like this great quarterback or anything like that, but I definitely could see him boosting him to a Ryan Tannehill level quarterback. I don't think that's out of the question because I didn't think Ryan Tannehill could get to the level he got to. So
I just want to say Ryan Tannehill gets a lot of help from Derrick Henry.
I agree with that.
So,
I
but
agree with that.
He played decent after Derrick Henry went down last year, but
and the Eagles were one of the better running teams in the league last year, to be fair. So it's not like they're going to have a bunch of heavy boxes either. Or excuse me, they are going to have a bunch of heavy boxes to open up the back of the secondary there.
And I will say this: I think first-year head coach Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts, as their first year together, they were figuring things out as well. Progressively through the first 6 games, they were pass heavy. Then from that point on, they go run heavy. I didn't think they knew what they wanted to do. Now you bring in a weapon like AJ Brown, who needs to be featured. I think they're going to figure it out together. And I don't think you've seen the best football out of Jalen Hurts, obviously. I think the kid is at that point in his career where he's young enough, he can get better. He can improve on the things that he needs to improve on. And I don't see why AJ Brown can't be an 1,108 to 11 touchdown guy, putting him well within reach of back end wide receiver 1 consistently numbers. I think you had a great draft pick. I'm personally higher on CeeDee Lamb just due to his situation and the volume that's going to be in the Dallas offense.
He went off the board right before AJ Brown.
He went right off the board before you, I was going to say.
To be fair, I was not going to take him because I am not the CeeDee Lamb guy. But
I know. But I'm never going to be mad at you for taking AJ Brown, man. AJ Brown's a phenomenal pick. And it's a great.
And I wasn't. I just to be clear, I wasn't trying to get my flowers. I just wanted to get some AJ Brown talk in on the pod, just because I feel like we hadn't got a whole lot of it since he got traded to the Eagles. But AJ said you seem to be the most down on AJ Brown in the draft process. At that point, Jamar, Jefferson, Kupp, and Lamb were off the board. I was going wide receiver no matter what. That my mind was made up. I was going wide receiver. So the wide receiver that went after that was Adams. Would you rather have Adams or Brown?
I'd rather have Brown, just on youth there. And I know I'm the guy that doesn't really shy away from the veterans, such as a Cooper Kupp. I think there's regression there, losing Rodgers to Derek Carr.
Okay, yeah. And then
I'm an AJ Brown.
Debo was the next wide receiver.
I don't like what's going on there. I don't. He had one outlier season. The other seasons he's been hurt, dating back to the South Carolina Gamecocks.
Jalen Waddle.
I'm taking AJ Brown.
DK.
But
Drake London.
It's just stop naming them.
I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying.
I honestly thought you would have went running back there. I mean, Javonte Williams went right after him.
That was my temptation. You guys know.
You 3 are Javonte homers.
I wanted to stick to my guns as the wide receiver guy.
Kyle Pitts was there.
He's not a wide receiver.
Yeah, I just want to say, tight ends have been weird in this draft all across boards. Look, they waited so long. We got a guy that doesn't even draft tight ends to trade up for a tight end. That's how bad it was.
Yeah, it was. It was bad. I didn't expect Pitts to be there at 212.
Middle in the 5th or 6th round or something like that.
Well, I was upset. Kelsey went before
3-9.
me.
Yeah, Kelsey.
I honestly think the tight ends wouldn't have went until Chalmers took the tight ends like that. I think Chalmers started the tight end run.
It wasn't even a run though.
Pitts, Andrews, and Kelsey all went within the 2nd and 3rd.
I think that's real.
Literally,
I think that's
no
realistic.
tight end went.
I think that's realistic.
I'm just saying that after no tight end going, you just said I could have took Pitts at that comeback 2-5, and he goes at the end of the 2nd, and then Andrews goes right after that. And Kelsey's in that same round.
But if I must say, AJ started a tight end, a little mini run as well, because he took Kittle in the 5th. Then
it was actually Frankie. Frankie took Hawkinson 2 picks before him.
Yeah.
And me and Frankie were texting. I was going to take Hawkinson. I settle for Kittle.
Okay, so then Frankie,
Got him.
I didn't know that. I thought Hawkinson went the round later, but okay. So
No,
Frankie,
he texted me. He was like, "Did I snipe you?" I was like, "Yeah, you bitch."
so Frankie took Hawk. You took
Yeah,
Kittle.
I took TJ Hawk and then Kittle and then Waller went.
Yeah, and then Goddard went not far after, and then
And
this
then Freiermuth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, and then Freiermuth went 2 picks after
That
Goddard.
was a pretty big gap there, wasn't there?
Well,
Six
that was-
picks.
No.
6 picks.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then I personally think that you got the better value at tight end, Deli. You got Schultz in the 9th.
Loved it.
Loved
Yeah.
that.
8th. He
I'm
got
very
in
happy
the
with him. in my
Eighth,
tight
'cause
end.
yeah, I was very
Still
happy
loved
for
it.
that. Yeah, it was a great pick.
I was surprised he's still there, honestly. Finished tight end 3 last year. Still got time to play. He's 25. He's got Dak with no more. Amari Cooper. Target's still going to go somewhere. So,
Yeah, if I didn't take
Plus, he kinda
Hawkinson where I took him, I
kinda
was
used
going to wait
Schultz
for
as,
Schultz
like
to
safety
fall.
blanket last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Schultz is in for high volume work, a lot of passing volume in that offense. Obviously Gallup's not guaranteed to be playing early. I personally have no faith in James Washington or Noah Brown. It's going to be early. It's going to be CD and Schultz.
Yep.
Great pick on your part. Great value. I know AJ, you don't personally like Kittle as much as most, but are you happy where you got him at via the value you paid for him?
Yeah, like you and I talked about. I'm a tight end guy. I can't pass up on Kittle at 5'10". That value's too good there for him being the best one on the board, especially in the one position league like we have going on here. Secure that spot and just go after best available. Would I rather had a different tight end? Yeah, but I'm in no way complaining that I got George Kittle at 5'10".
With
Yeah,
that, are you at all worried about Kittle's injury history? He's the only tight end you have on your roster at the moment.
Yeah, that's kind of why I don't like Kittle that much. He's always fighting injuries, but he's so tough and boneheaded that he just has to be on the field. And he's more just like, hey, let me block this guy instead of getting these catches and give my fantasy owners 2 for 26. And I'm like, I don't want that. But those games where he has 10 for 147 and a touchdown, you're like, that's why you draft that guy.
And that's what we talked about on the podcast. Sometimes Kittle's a better real life football player than fantasy player.
Absolutely.
He's so good in all facets of the game of football. And he plays with so much passion that even if he is hurt, he tries to tough it out. And then last year, like I said, because he was hurt already, he plays another game and he fractures ribs and he misses 4 weeks. Like he fucked me in my work league. You know what I mean? Like you said, Kittle is boneheaded and he's such a good player that sometimes it hurts his fantasy games. And that's the only thing with Kittle.
I'll always own Kittle anywhere I own him. I'll never trade him just because I love him as a player. Just out of sheer respect for the guy. I mean, he plays football and plays his position true to the role in both aspects, and it blows my mind every year.
He's in the wrong era.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree with that. But like I said, there's always value picks. And honestly, you threw me off, Ryan. He was still there in the 9th. I was very shocked to see Cortland Sutton on the board, the way it fell.
Man, I was looking for him to fall to me at that next pick.
Yeah,
and I was so mad.
That's a pick that I wanted to.
In those middle rounds, like I feel like I got Godwin a little bit too late, and it kind of guys started to fall to me. That little range that I had, I was like, I'm feeling good.
You started cooking.
Yeah, that's why I said I wanted to give you the shout out for your prop value pick. Godwin fell to you to the 6th, 7th, 6th. Yeah, and then like I said, Sutton in the 9th. I was like I said, I'm all in on the Broncos offense in general. Cortland Sutton leading the league in air yards last year. I think him and Russ find a good connection. I think the whole offense finds a good connection in general. That was a great pick in the 9th round. You have a potentially 1,200-yard receiver, 8 touchdown guy in the 9th round. That was a great find for you.
Well, here's the thing.
Most painful snipe of the whole draft, man. You got me, Deli.
I'm sorry, Frankie. Oh, it's fair.
Headshot.
I just want to say that, like, Judy go way above him in the draft. Like we're not even sure who the guy is gonna be. Like it could turn out that Jerry Judy really isn't what he's supposed to be, and Sutton just ends up being that guy. And I get to roll on out. But that's all speculation. We'll see what happens in real life.
Just a note, you talk about Judy. Judy went to at pick 6'10". Judy was drafted before Chris Godwin.
There you go.
Yeah, 6'10".
Godwin's coming off an injury.
Yeah, but
and how long do you have Godwin with an elite quarterback?
Right.
Good questions to ask. But like you said, I've seen Sutton with 1,000 yards. I've seen Sutton with 8 touchdowns in a season, things like that. The ACL tear was unfortunate for Sutton. I thought that kind of hindered him a little bit. And then obviously Drew Lock being your QB. But my point is I don't think there's a 3-round difference between Judy and Sutton. I really
Not
don't.
even close.
That's
Not
what
even
I'm
close.
saying. That's why I said, Deli, that's a fucking great value pick for you. It really stood out to me in the draft. That was one. I was like, God damn it, man.
Listen, if he would have went at 9-7, he was going at 9. Damn it.
Yeah.
I thought the same thing for Mike Williams. For him to go in the 9th round to Lennox, that's great
Lennox
value
has the
as
best
well.
team.
You said what?
I think Lennox has the best team.
Okay, that's fair.
He's got a good team.
He does, but
Who is
It's Vic's Pet Service or Service.
Service. Vic's
I
Pet
texted
Service.
him about it. He was like, "I'm changing my team name anyway."
The only thing about him is his skill position guys are really, really like on the older side in a dynasty league. His
Fair
vibe,
win now.
yeah, for sure. And I think we have a couple of teams in the league like that. Like my buddy I invited, Alan. His strategy, he's got 6 running backs on his roster.
That the Vikings
All
guy.
27.
Yeah, all 26, 27, like Dalvin Cook,
Aaron Jones, James
Connor,
Christian McCaffrey, and then 9th overall pick.
Right.
He's got CeeDee Lamb and Robert Woods.
Like I said, if these guys are true running back ones for this season, and his QB play works out because he waited for a quarterback.
You got good value on Kirk in the 7th, though, to be fair.
Travis Kelce, my guy.
Travis Kelce, another one. That's what I'm saying. These are pure win now rosters. Pure win now. Meanwhile, a lot of us went different routes.
Like Mr. Chalmers there going with the first rookie off the board this year.
Brees Hall, baby. Preach the confidence. Buy into your guys.
I was surprised to see you take him over Joe Mixon.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Or
guys. It's my
Derrick
pick
Henry.
right now.
You're good. I guess my personal thought was, like I said, I you know how I build my dynasty rosters. I like the youth. I love to attack guys that I fall in love with based off the process. And if you talk to me right now, Brees Hall is my guy. I had to go get my guy. I think I paired him with a quote unquote decent veteran. I think he's going to have a huge bounce back year. I made the trade with you, AJ. And that was for J.K. Dobbins. I had to go get another running back that I felt comfortable rostering. And I think Dobbins is in for a huge workload and a huge year.
The only reason I did that trade was, to move back 3 spots, and I was still able to get Stephon Diggs and some draft capital with that. I was totally okay with that.
Absolutely. Sometimes you just got to go get your guy, though. I bought in. I got my guy. I was happy with it. You were happy with it.
So Chalmers, real quick, other than having to go get your guy, how do you talk us into Brees Hall over Mixon and Henry?
So the thing is I'm fading my older guys anyway. Derrick Henry coming off a significant foot injury this year. Obviously, I didn't expect him to look stellar in that playoff performance because he didn't look good. On top of that, all the touches he already has on his body going into his year 29 season. I think Brees Hall's window is 5 to 7. Meanwhile, you're going to get 2 at most out of Derrick Henry. I'm good with that. I'm not in a position like where I want to win for 2 and then have to resell and keep jumping on that boat. I love my young running backs that are off on that first contract. My thing is I tend to sell running backs on their second deal, a year or 2 into their second deal. That's when I tend to sell these guys. And like I said, I'm in love with Brees Hall as a prospect. I think he's going to be special, and that's why I bought in.
Fair enough.
No, like I said, the one thing that got me, and I have no problem with him being picked as a dynasty running back one. I thought Cody took Eckler a little bit too early.
Too
So-
early.
I
Well,
thought
it's
it was a
early for me.
fine pick. I like
thought it
what
was a
Cody
great
did.
pick. I honestly was going to ask AJ why he went Swift over Eckler and why Delly went Williams over Eckler. I think Eckler's great value there.
I have,
Simply put, I'm a Williams stan. So
Same. I would have done the same thing, Delly. I think Eckler's great.
I do too.
Is all.
I have Eckler firmly inside my top 7. Firmly inside. Swift, I have him in my top 5, just based off talent alone. I know you don't buy in any Detroit Lions, so I have Swift as a top 5 guy.
Not until I see it, man.
I mean, but 18 points per game last year was pretty stellar. That's very viable.
Did he play
not
them
to
all?
see it isn't the greatest like strategy with the Lions because they're literally a plug quarterback team and they're good. So
Oh no,
I can't
I'm
give-
generally speaking, it's a bit. I agree. I like what the Lions are doing with their team building strategy. Just I'm not a huge Swift guy, to be fair. I think he's fine. I don't like Swift that much. I don't like the fact that I think next year, if anything, is going to be his big year because I think the Lions again are a quarterback away. And I think that's when that offense can pop is when they actually get a good quarterback in there. I think this year they're kind of be middling of the road, and I think 18 points per game is solid. But it's not, the greatest thing in the world, but Swift is fine. I'm not a huge Swift guy. I like what the Lions are doing, generally speaking, on team building. I think Swift is a good real football player, just not necessarily my guy for fantasy. That's all it is. I again like what the Lions are doing. Jameson Williams, I think, is a great pick. St. Brown popped off as a good surprise pick for them. I like the offensive line team building that they're doing. Obviously, they were able to grab Aiden Hutchinson to start that defensive line as well. So, like what the Lions are doing, but I'm going to keep up my bit of no Lions this year at all, and no trust in Lions until I see the Lions be good.
Let's see. Your brother, Ryan, the one I want to talk about now too. What about these teams, like you said? So Davis, like you said, AJ, starting running back 1, Miles Sanders. Outside of Najee, Ryan, Seth is starting or is rostering running back 2 is Dameon Pierce. So you think these teams with a lack of running back depth, because running back after you get past your elite guys is very thin. How do you feel about the teams that are only rostering 1 running back or no running backs? Because Miles Sanders isn't someone I necessarily want to build my team around. You know what I mean?
We're kind of in a unique situation. We have the roster set up, but you really only need 1 running back, and you can kind of fill in the rest with whatever position you have available. I'm not condoning the 1 running back lifestyle. It seems reckless given the fact that if the injury rate of running back is so much higher than any other position. So Najee goes down in such situation, and he's starting Dameon Pierce, who's a rookie on the Texans for the whole season. It's tough, though. I think this setup's kind of messing some people up a little bit, which is kind of what I wanted to experiment with. But
Yeah, AJ and I
you guys
talked about that.
stuff? Anything else on the 1 running back trend?
I think 1 running back in a all flex league is a dangerous proposition. Yeah, and I mean I'm the wide receiver guy, so to speak, but especially if you're not going to handcuff them, I think going wide running back light is an okay strategy. I just think going running back light, you have to go with a handcuff because, like you said, Deli, the injury rate for running back is so high. Those guys get such violent touches in there that you have to have a handcuff if you're going to go wide receiver heavy. In fantasy football, I tried a 0 running back strategy 1 year in a redraft league, and I ended up getting my ass handed to me. It was the only time I've ever been in a professional league. I ended up on a team with Matt Harmon from Yahoo Sports, and I was so proud of myself thinking I was going to do something. Went wide receiver heavy and got my ass kicked because I did not handcuff my running back. So you got to handcuff them running backs if you're going to go wide receiver heavy.
While we're still on Najee, though, and Steven, you can attest to this when you're a Steelers fan, who would you handcuff with Najee Harris at all?
Benny,
Fair.
Benny Snow. Not much competition for touches outside of it. McFarland is the better receiving back. But the thing about it is, if not, and I talked about this to you, and I preach this constantly, no running back should touch the ball 95% of your offensive snaps or be on the field for 95% of your snaps. That's how you get hurt, and that's how your career ends. I obviously know I'm not going to be talking to Mike Tomlin anytime soon or Matt Canada, but they got to relieve Najee every once in a while, dude. Like I said, it was insane, his usage last year. But if I had to handcuff, it's going to be Benny Snow.
It's a great question, Deli. I didn't even think about the fact that it was Najee, so there's not really much of a handcuff option.
Yeah, there's like nobody.
Would you
really
say that maybe a good handcuff option for somebody like Najee would be maybe stacking, like going wide receiver heavy, getting DJ, or maybe even trying to get Freiermuth, maybe even Mitch, just to get some of that rushing upside?
You're talking as far as like if Najee goes down, try to have other position players on the Steelers that can make up for those.
Yeah,
plays.
just like Steeler protection, basically.
Steeler insurance.
Yeah, it's like a Steeler condom.
I'll be honest with you, I'm all for it. And if I look at the contract situations and obviously the George Pickens pick, if that's forecasting anything that I don't want to happen, I'm drafting Pickens. I think Pickens went in the back end of the 8th round, which is a great value for him. I think I like the separation that Pickens can create off his routes. One thing that Claypool could never do. Claypool is a tight catch radius type of receiver. Battles for the 50-50. He's a very tough guy, but no separation created. Pickens is a little bit different. So if that's forecasting anything, Pickens would be the one that I'd want to pair with Najee if that's what you're talking about, any kind of insurance. I think he's going to be a wide receiver 1 for us in the future because I'm starting to come to the realization that DJ is going to walk.
So what's ironic about that is Jake, one of my 2 recruits, actually stacked up on Steelers. You got Kenny Pickett, he's got Deontay Johnson, and Pickens. So, I mean, he's got, like you said, potentially the future wide receiver 1 on that team. He's got the wide receiver 1 now and potentially the starting QB of the future. I like what Jake's done with his team. He's got a good roster construction there. He went with the 1 running back strategy. Only has Saquon, which is very risky. That's definitely boom or bust. So, but he's got nice wide receivers. I mean, he's got Debo, Deontay, DJ Moore, Pickens, Ayuk. To go along with Herbert. I mean, he's got a good team there.
Who do the Giants have behind Saquon?
I'm a Giants fan. We actually cleaned out our running back room, to be honest with you. We moved.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we cleaned out. I have to look up the depth chart, to be honest with you. I'm actually curious. Hold on.
Did you cut Devontae Booker?
That's what I was thinking of, Devontae Booker.
Yeah, did you cut Devontae Booker?
I think he got cut.
I'm pretty sure they all got cut or like their contracts expired. That's what I thought. Again, I'm not a huge Giants fan. I'm not like following the beat or nothing. Just I don't remember this.
Booker. Yeah, he's a free agent. Yeah. So anyway, let me figure out what this is because I gotta know.
So again, no handcuffs. That's what I mean. Like if you're gonna go running back light and wide receiver heavy, I'm all for it. Like, give it a go. I think you just really got to get a running back that you can get a handcuff. Like, I'm not to talk about myself, but I went wide receiver heavy in the first 2 rounds. I got Zeke and now I got Pollard. So if Zeke goes down, I got Pollard there for insurance.
And I told Deli that I said I didn't like the Zeke pick because I'm fading Zeke until you took Pollard. So I was very happy that you took Pollard on that aspect of it. I guess my thing is Deli, question for you. He's talking about, pairing with any kind of Giants skill position guys for added insurance. What skill position guy do you want on the Giants other than Saquon Barkley?
Great.
Listen, I took Tony on a flyer just for an upside pick.
Love Tony.
He might be the only other one that's worth a shot. But just to go back, Matt Breida is Saquon Barkley's backup. So that's where we're at.
You don't want that handcuff.
Yeah, no.
So
Yeah,
they're
and
playing
then
the
after
waiver
that,
wire.
Gary Brightwell. So good luck. But yeah, no. Other than Tony and Saquon, and even Tony's kind of like a boomer bust situation. Like
I do like Tony more now
if
that
he
you
gets
guys got a new coach in
explosive,
there.
yeah, he's an explosive guy, and he has to stay
So
on the
explosive.
field, which is kind of the first step. You
I
guys
don't
think
think-
he's worth or no?
What's that?
You think Tony's worth or not really?
I love Tony. Honestly, I took Alec Pierce to pick after Tony. I would probably have gone Tony if he was still there. I am a Florida Gators fan, just to be 100% transparent there. But I think Tony's incredibly explosive with the ball in his hands. He's probably one of the more dynamic athletes I've seen play at the University of Florida since probably like Percy Harvin, just for comparison's sake, athletically speaking. So I love Kadarius Toney. I hated that the Giants drafted him because I didn't think that he was going to get much of an opportunity to do much there. But now that they got a new regime in there, more offensive-minded staff, I do like Toney.
I don't like anything about that passing game in New York.
As a flyer.
Sorry, Doey.
No, you're good. We have a bunch of receivers that didn't work out. So Saquon Barkley, excuse me. Sterling Shepard hasn't been the same since that fucking boat. So
They need to just start up fresh on that whole offense. Barkley, Jones,
Get rid of all
Shepard,
of them, yeah.
Galladay, all of them. Just cut ties with them all.
yeah,
Eat the money for Galladay that you spent and just start over.
I agree. I think it's time, and we're under new management right now. So I think we're going in that direction. We've already not picked up Danny Dimes' fifth year. So that's still up in the air. He's got a lot to prove this year. And listen, 2023 draft class is loaded with quarterbacks. Daniel Jones fails again. I think they look in that direction.
AJ, my question to you is Cody drafted Mike Evans in the seventh round. Great wide receiver. And do you consider him a dynasty holder or more win now piece? Are you building a roster around Mike Evans if you want for a long-term aspect or just for a win now piece?
He actually took him in the sixth round.
Sixth round.
He was 2 picks after Godwin.
Yeah, he went in the sixth round. He's a fade for me, honestly, as a Tampa fan. I had an opportunity to take Godwin twice. I mean, at a reasonable spot, obviously. I ended up not taking him due to that ACL injury and the fact that is this Brady's last year again? Like, I don't know. I don't want to take that chance with the wide receivers there. If I was to own any piece of that offense outside of a Tom Brady, it would be Leonard Fournette, just because they're going to run the rock with him. As far as Evans and Godwin, I don't want any parts of it. I actually just traded my last Godwin share a couple nights ago to Cody, coincidentally. Got Stephon Diggs for it. Thought it was a good trade on my part for it. It was obviously a package, but for Cody, that was his wide receiver one. To get Mike Evans in the sixth round as your wide receiver one after locking up his quarterbacks and 3 running backs with you got Kyler, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, and David Montgomery. I think Mike Evans is a great pick for him there. He got a veteran that he knows is going to kind of put up numbers right now.
Frankie, you're a fucking whore, by the way. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Gus. Love it.
You're such a whore.
While we're still here, I just want to say if J.K. Dobbins fails, this podcast is going down. Quick.
Oh yeah.
No, I'm just saying I traded him away.
You gotta come up, you guys, is all I'm saying.
Frankie, you're a whore, bro. I just want to tell you that. But anyway, continue. I'm sorry, AJ.
Yeah, like, what do you guys think of Cody's team? His construction. I think he did a good job in this draft. I mean, like I said, taking 2 QBs and 3 running backs, the first 5 picks, and then I think he went 5 or 6 wide receivers after that. I mean,
I'm sorry,
Thomas,
did you
you
say
and I
Cody, the
know.
guy I invited to the league?
Yeah, that is one of your guys. Cody's one of me and Chalmers' biggest fantasy rivals. Always has
Yeah.
been in basketball, baseball, and football. I hate the guy when it comes to fantasy because he's hard as hell to even trade with because he just never wants to take a chance. And I tell him that all the time, and he'll constantly argue that he does. I hope he hears this. I really
Well, not to
do.
bore people with talking about the people that we know, but I think Cody's very much a win now kind of guy when it comes to fantasy. And I think the
Yep.
draft and the roster that he has right now is very indicative of that.
Yeah.
I think the wide receivers, you can basically just look at it and tell by that. He's got Mike Evans, he's got DeAndre Hopkins, Allen Robinson, even went ahead and drafted Adam Thielen, one of his favorite guys to have on his team. Drafted Calvin Ridley. Again, we all know that he's going to have a year suspension, going to be a year older when he comes back. But when he comes back, he's going to be a contributor. So I like Cody's team very much. I think he's going to have one of the more competitive teams all year long. And Cody, while being difficult to trade with, he will make a trade when he needs to. Always a guy who, if he has a hole in his roster, he's looking to fill it quick. He doesn't want to mess around and keep that hole. So I like Cody's team. And again, not to talk about people that we know too much, but Cody's a win now kind of guy.
He did
Yeah.
take Garrett Wilson to add to those older wide receivers. So, and there's a lot of hype around Garrett Wilson. I'm unfortunately not on that train, but a lot of people are.
Yeah, I'm not on the Garrett Wilson train because I am on the Elijah Moore train. So not a lot of room to be on both trains.
You do love you some Elijah Moore.
And AJ, you said it. Cody is, especially to me, he is my biggest fantasy rival when it comes to fantasy.
He hates you.
he hates me.
He targets you in the group chat for no reason. You want him to be talking.
I know.
He's just like, fuck Chalmers.
I hate him. And you know what it comes down to, man? It was your fantasy basketball league, the inaugural year we were in the championship game, and Draymond Green sits and he loses by 3 points and 2 rebounds.
He still talks about that. He always says you get fluke wins.
But yeah, it was crazy. But now, and like I said, I love the construction early, especially Eckler, Mixon, David Montgomery. That's a phenomenal start, especially at a very thin position. 2 guys I consider running back ones and absolute monsters. And then David Montgomery, I think, is a viable running back too with a lot of volume. Only unfortunate thing is he does play in Chicago. They are awful on all aspects of the ball. Yeah.
A good running back 3.
Yeah. The thing about it is like the only thing I didn't like about the wide receivers was pairing 2 suspended wide receivers together. I think that's going to hinder him.
That's a Cody move.
Yeah, it is. But and I think that'll hinder.
You don't like suspended wide receivers, Chalmers? That seems like a weird rule.
You gotta hop on a train, man.
But nah, and like I said,
there's enough room.
But I'm personally on the Garrett Wilson train. So I like that pick at 7.5. I think that's great value. Mike Evans, huge win now piece. Don't see how he can't finish top 10 in dynasty or in top 10 in redraft this year. Allen Robinson. I'm a fan, obviously, just because of the Penn State thing. But in that offense, I think Allen Robinson has a chance to explode. And Thielen, back-to-back years, missed games, but back-to-back double-digit touchdowns, and that's where your fantasy numbers come from. I think he's got a solid start, like you said. The only thing that scares me is how much longer does Aaron play? That's the question that comes around him every year. I know he signed a 4-year deal. I don't see how he couldn't walk out of that deal at any time he wanted. But that's the one question. He's got his main staple. He's got Kyler. That's a great start regardless. Cody had a great draft.
Now, we kind of skipped around touching on any of your guys, Deli. The guys, they got first and third pick. I don't know how you managed to get your recruits to get such high picks. I don't know how that happened, but we're not going to get into that. You want to?
I didn't randomize it.
You want to kind of break down your guys' teams, starting with Sully?
Listen. First of all, I just want to vouch for both these guys. They're both fantastic fantasy players. We got. I want to say Sully. He got one pick. He won the lottery. He won the Josh Allen lottery. And then he goes, and this is what kind of surprises me, because you get all the way back to that turn, you wait all that time, and then you trade your turn for picks in the later rounds. Now, luckily, it did work out for him. He's got a pretty well balanced team, but I mean, you could say that he has Cam Akers, but here's the thing: Sean loves Cam Akers.
What's his name?
He will never not pass on. His name is Sean. Sully,
Sean.
Sean, either way.
Okay, I gotcha.
But yeah, he loves Akers. I don't have any say in that. I don't love that pick there. But what am I to do? You know, everybody's got their guy. I actually told Steven I was going to reach for my guy Ayuk, and I almost reached, but I couldn't pull the trigger. Can't remember who I picked in his place, but
I'm snaked in on Ayuk as well, Deli.
Yeah. But yeah, and then Seth, I think Seth's doing just fine. Plus, here's the thing with Seth, you guys don't know, my brother, he's got this roster now, and about 2 weeks after the draft is over, that team is going to be completely different.
He's a wheeler and dealer.
I love that.
I'm sure he's been kind of looking at players more with value, more so than talent at times, just because he loves to trade, loves to go get his guys. I'm sure there's a few people he missed on. He's going to go back, tweak his team a little bit. And same with Sean, too. Both aggressive traders. I'm just trying to bring some fun to the league, get people in here that aren't going to make some moves. I hope that wasn't playing across the board.
Absolutely. Kind of the same way with Jake and Randy being my guys. They're gonna be active. You might get a couple trade offers where you're like, hell no. But hey, they're shooting their shot. I feel like we're in a league of sharks. I mean, just based off the draft itself, the amount of trades is eye popping, and I loved every bit of it. Every time I felt like I looked at my phone, it was like trade has been completed. I'm like, well, shit, I wasn't in that one. What happened? But I mean, it was good to see everybody active. I think the only three people that stayed completely put was Frankie and his two recruits, Cody, Lennox. They all stayed to a pack. None of them traded. I don't know if they planned that ahead of the draft or what, but you want to touch on your guys a little bit there.
No, man. So I touched on Cody a little bit, but yeah, win now kind of guy. Lennox, he's a little new to fantasy. I believe he's done 1 or 2 years prior to this. Big redraft guy. He's been in a lot of redraft leagues a lot through his whole life. So that kind of explains his roster construction here. He still went with a pretty good young core, I like to think. He was able to get Burrow in the first. Like you said, we all stayed pretty consistent. So I think he got good value for all of his picks, really. Got Burrow at the 4th pick. So he was able to let the top 3 go and then take his pick of the best available quarterback. We touched on Henry a little bit, but getting him at the 4th pick in the 3rd round still, I think, is great for his number 1 running back. He went Adams, and like I said, we read off that list of wide receivers when I was going over A.J. Brown. So I think getting Adams there is pretty good. Only person I could think maybe going different would be maybe Debo, but I could understand wanting to avoid Debo with the 10-foot pole. So yeah, I think Lennox, he kind of has a redraft roster with a lot of good dynasty sprinkled on top of it. So I like what my guys did, staying put in the draft and letting the board fall like it will to you. So that's always going to be my draft strategy. I didn't expect my guys to stay firm with me there, but I appreciate the solidarity, fellas.
You guys had to sign a pact or something. That's insane.
Yeah, like what are the odds of that? Like, I saw that and I was like, what the heck?
What a
to be fair, I wouldn't have moved up at all. I would have been with Frankie and his boys, because the only reason I moved up is to go get my quarterback. Had it not gone running back, I would have stayed exactly where I was.
Well, let me talk about my guys a little bit. Actually, one of my guys did not trade at all. Allen, Vikings, and then Davis, DeGraw, 94. Talk about Allen a little bit. He's the same as Cody. He approaches it from a win now basis, and he likes to adjust his team every year and go off that. He also is the same as Seth. 1 year in our dynasty league, I want to say he made 18 trades. Phenomenal number. Probably excessive for me. 18 is a lot for somebody like me. I'm hard to trade with, but once we break the ice, I'll trade with you. But he's a trade guy. He has a lot of win now pieces as well. Like I said, McCaffrey, Cook, Fournette, Jones, Connor, Kelsey, Kirk Cousins, guys like that. Bobby Trees. I mean, I don't really want Bobby Trees, but and other than that, I mean, I think he built his construction based off how he wanted it. He's a running back guy. I mean, 5 viable running back 1 options in a standard league, this year. I think he was very happy with that. Travis Kelce, the best tight end going into this season, redraft basis wise. And then he got his dynasty wide receiver 3. He's in love with CeeDee Lamb, just like I am. He was very excited about that pick. I think overall he did well. Staying put, not
He
trading.
got a lot of good value on his wide receivers too.
Yeah,
His late wide receivers, I mean.
Yeah.
MVS, Galladay, Woods. I know they're not all home run guys, but those are
Right.
if they hit, those are really good values. Woods has the potential to be the number 1. Valdez-Scantling the number 1. Galladay, if they throw the ball and he's healthy, I think he can be the number 1 there too. So he went running back heavy, and now he's getting some good value on these wide receivers.
And the crazy part about his running backs, all 3 of them play 17 games, or all 5 of them play 17 games. I'm sorry. They're all looking at 300 plus touches. None of us.
Connor led the league in touchdowns last year.
None of us can say that. None of us have 5 running backs on our rosters that can touch the ball 300 times. He does. Travis Kelce could lead all skill position players in fantasy points scored. He's that good. I like the roster, especially for 2022 for him. But I want to touch on Davis. AJ, me and you have the most trades in the draft. 3rd is Davis. And I was very happy with him to do that. He's a guy that likes to build through the draft. And in 2023, he loaded up with 4 first-round picks, and he has 3 second-round picks. He is going to attack the 2023 draft heavily. He's a big fan of this draft class, as of most people. He said that this one is probably better than the 2020 class. And the 2020 class, we all remember, was absolutely loaded. So I think that's how his approach was. He did get his QB he wanted. He wanted Russ. Got another young guy in Fields, so that was his basis. And he got Waddle and Drake London, and he was very happy about that. Obviously, running back is a little bit of an issue on his roster, but I think he can address that very quickly in this next draft. So I was very happy with what my 2 guys did. And like you said, this league is full of sharks. I think it's going to be a great league. I think it's going to be a very active league. And I'm actually curious to see who comes out on top year 1. That's what I can't wait to see.
How many trades do we have? You said we were first.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 11 trades. You have 9, and he has 7.
That's
So
27 trades between us 3.
Right, and that doesn't include
Wow.
Randy. Randy had 6 himself.
I didn't even touch on my guy Randy's team. I was just looking at it. I like what he did, and I kind of didn't like a couple things he did. Like I touched on, I kind of stay away from the Trey Lance area, but I like the Derek Carr value that he got. Carr is constantly overlooked, I feel like, in fantasy, and then they just added Devontae Adams. But if Trey Lance hits, that can be a good 1-2 punch for him. I mean, the wide receivers, you got Jefferson, Higgins, DK, St. Brown. That's a good 4. And he's got Jacobs and Kareem Hunt sitting there. I mean, that's a solid squad there. But yeah, I didn't see him making 6 trades in this draft. I really didn't. I love to see the activity though. I love it. So that puts us over 33 trades.
Ryan, another thing I want to talk to you about. I told Sean too. I loved his strategy. Loved it.
Yeah,
That mid round pick, like
in the mid-round.
yeah, that mid round pick value, like that 4 through 7, 8 area where he was picking, he was just sniping players left and right. I mean, and Jake did the same thing. Jake traded out of 4 picks.
He traded out of his 2nd and 3rd round pick.
Yeah, and then he traded out of his 5th and his 6th. The value they added to their rosters that, like, at that point, like, He still ended up with Deontay Johnson, DJ Moore,
Debo
Debo,
Mhm.
and Saquon in a 4-pick stretch. It was
to go
insane.
with Justin Herbert.
To go with Herbert. Yeah, exactly. It was insane. I loved what AJ did, or what Jake did, and I loved what Sean did. I was very,
Yeah.
very.
Now, which one was Sean again? Sorry, I'm still learning these
Sully.
guys.
Josh Allen.
Sully.
So, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm proud of my guys. Definitely what I have running back. But real quick, now that we've kind of introduced everybody going through this draft so far, we're through the bulk of our good players. You guys regret any picks or any snipes you want to get out of the way?
Cortland Sutton is my snipe. Fuck you.
Oh, well, I
How
don't
did he
want to get
snipe
called
you
out.
if you weren't picking after him?
I thought he'd make it one more round. I was.
That's not a snipe. A
It
snipe
was
is
though.
literally the pick
It
before.
was because I had a trade in place with a guy after you.
No, listen. I had to take Hunter Renfro because he took Cortland Sutton. That's a snipe, sir. That's what I
Alright,
call a
well,
snipe.
listen,
I like
but listen.
Hunter Renfro.
Me and Allen had a trade. Me and Allen had a trade in place. I was taking the pick after you if Cortland Sutton was there. And of course he wasn't there. I had the trade all laid out. It was ready to go.
Guess what? I didn't have to trade anything. And I would have just had Cortland Sutton, except for Deli is a genius and took Cortland Sutton.
Yeah.
I didn't really get sniped too much.
No, I only got
I
sniped.
don't know,
That
man.
was-
The
that was it.
Kelsey one was funny. Travis Kelsey was pretty
Well,
funny.
I had 306 and I took Dobbins. Or I
got
didn't
you
take
on
Dobbins. I
Hockenson.
traded back from 306 to 312. So you could select or no. So whoever DGA is. So he could select Justin Fields. I moved back to 12, thinking Kelsey would fall there. He got drafted at 309. I settled for Dobbins. And
And I
then you
traded
hit
for
me up right away. And was like, let me get Dobbins. And then I ended up with Stephon Diggs. So for me to miss out on Kelsey and get Stephon Diggs, I think that's a win for me.
That's a win. But I got you on Hockenson.
Yeah.
Hockenson was the last of your high valued tight ends.
Yeah.
Hey,
I got Kittle, though. I got Kittle.
Can you
I
He
make
can't
wasn't in
be-
your same tier.
He's not. I can't be mad at that, but I was mad. If that makes sense to the audience.
Hey Deli, can you
So I
make
think my biggest regret is Zeke, but I couldn't do much about it. I needed another running back at that point. Aaron Jones just went off the board, and I think the next running back after Zeke was Elijah Mitchell. So I'm happy with Zeke there at that point, especially to be able to get Tony Pollard on the comeback.
Hey Deli, can you make a pick, sir? Thank you. Appreciate it.
No.
What do you guys think was the biggest reach?
Well, hold on. Let me get my snipe out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm coming after fucking Damian Harris after this draft is over. I'm gonna fucking get his ass.
I'm gonna come after Ramondre.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Also, I had my pick set in my queue, and then I had my second pick set in my queue, and then it goes, oh shit, let me get Michael Gallup. Oh shit, let me take Ramondre Stevenson. Oh well, now I don't know what to do. Yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate that. By the way, I do appreciate that, guys. Thank you. That was
So
awesome.
you just got sniped all the way through.
Yeah, then you take my cuff. Then you take my handcuff. Thank you. I greatly appreciate you, sir.
Oh, I'm the handcuff machine, sir. I will draft everybody's handcuff. Don't you worry yourself.
Oh, I know.
If you have a running back go down, Frankie is the guy to come see.
Yeah.
Running back doctor.
Yes, sir.
Running back doctor.
Wide receiver guru, running back doctor. I'll get you fixed up. Let's go.
That's your team name right there. Running back doctor.
The biggest reach for me, I'm gonna have to say I did not expect Trey Lance to go 2-2.
Easily.
Well, you guys had him in your top 10 rankings.
I did have him in my top 10, but at that point, there's 7 QBs off the board. The elite 7 that stand out to me. Watson being in that category, like you said, obviously the suspension lingering over his head that you guys want to talk about. So obviously you probably thought Watson would fall. But at that point, I thought there was going to be a huge, heavy run of skill position guys, and then Trey Lance is just thrown in the middle there. I don't know who at that point in the board. I mean, he could have paired Jefferson with CD. He could have paired him with AJ Brown, Swift, Javonte. There's a lot of pairings possible. Trey Lance to me at 2-2 kind of stood out to me as like hey, like I didn't expect that pick type of thing.
I think mine was DK, coincidentally done by the same person, Randy. I mean, he took him over Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, T. Higgins, even though he did get T. Higgins on the swing. Deontay Johnson, I like all of them more than DK, but I kind of want to backtrack a little bit. Now that I'm looking at the draft board, Drake London at 401 over the same guys that I just said is a reach. But
So with that, since we're talking about rookies, my biggest reach is Mr. Brees Hall. We talked about it earlier. I know Mr. Chalmers.
302.
Mr. Chalmers, I know you're not an Alvin Kamara fan, but there is no way in hell you can convince me that Brees Hall is going to have a more valuable production or touches than Alvin Kamara, or B, that he's just more talented. That, like, yeah, I heard what you said about Mixon and Henry, but come on, man.
The thing about Kamara is when you're looking at him based off of his. Let me make my pick, fellas. Hold on, give me a second.
That's fine. I'll keep talking about how you took Brees Hall over Alvin Kamara, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, and Joe Mixon. I can talk about that for the rest of the night if you want.
That's
J.K.
fine.
Dobbins.
J.K. Dobbins,
and
which
the thing
you ended
about
up
it,
trading for. You could have just drafted him and you traded for him. Why would you do that? Like that blows my brain apart, Mr. Chalmers, since we're talking about reaches.
202 is not an acceptable spot for J.K. Dobbins, though.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing. I don't think J.K. Dobbins should have gone that high, and I love J.K. Dobbins. I just don't think Brees Hall had any business being up there in that part of the draft.
Do you think he should have went that high? You're a Brees Hall guy, Deli.
I think what he did, Steve, I think had a thought in his head to go a little bit younger to start out. He got Pitts, and then immediately paired him with Hall. I think Pitts is still good years to come. I thought that was a strategy at first, and then he kind of pivoted away from that a little bit. I'll let him break into it. Maybe a little high for me. Oh, excuse me, it's 302, not 202.
I like,
but
Hall,
Peace Stone. I also believe in fantasy that you should always go get your guy, and you never want to look back on a player that boom and busted and was like, "Damn, I should have just went and got my guy."
Yeah, I've always been under the impression you have to buy these guys before they become stars at a value that you don't want to pay for them. I'm in love with, like I said, the prospect itself. I'm in love with the grade. I'm in love with the landing spot. I'm in love with the regime that's happening in New York. I'm not worried about Michael Carter one bit. I think he's going to turn into a Nyheim Hines type running back. I do not think Brees Hall is going to be a Jonathan Taylor. I'm not saying that. But I do think he is going to be we're going to talk about him next year as a possible top 7 guy, top 8 guy in that category. I went and got my guy. And then I paired him with, I said, a more quote unquote veteran type running back. I love my running back pairing at my top 2. I'm not going to say it's better than Deli's because it's obviously not. I think Deli has the best running back pairing in the league.
I hope so.
But with Brees Hall, like I said, I'm buying into my hype before the hype gets too big. And maybe I didn't have to trade up for 3-2, but Seth told me the same thing, that he was going to take Brees Hall instead of Mark Andrews as well. So, you know what I mean? If he's thinking like that, I got to figure how many more of you guys are thinking like that.
That's fair. So in 1 week from now is my rookie draft live in person here. If Joe Mixon gets offered to you for the first pick, you're going to say no?
No. I didn't draft Mixon here. I'm going to ride with him. You know what I mean? I didn't draft Mixon here. Brees Hall's
right, but Mixon's more of a win now than Hall.
Sure.
So
yeah. And
based off your roster, you're still going to go with Hall?
I think my roster in your league is ready to not only win now, but compete for the next 5 to 7. I love my roster in your league. That's my favorite roster at any dynasty league I have. I don't have the best QB pairing in your league. That obviously goes to Marshall. When you have Mahomes and Josh Allen, that's pretty hard to beat. But between Burrow and Dak, I love that pairing. I love my running backs. I love my top 2 receivers. And I think my Judy pick has a potential to break out. I'm also looking to possibly replace Eckler. And I don't want to put Mixon on that roster with nothing in place of that. I like to stay relatively young. So I think Brees Hall is my guy, and I'm going to ride the train, man. I'm on the train. I'm going to ride it.
That's fair.
I
can respect that.
Quick. We were going a little overtime here, but to have our departure of Frankie. Frankie, any last words before you get out of here?
No, man, I just got to get to bed. Got work in the morning, but I definitely appreciate you fellas. This draft's been a hell of a good time. The roster construction's been wonky, and it's been making some people do some things that I never would have expected. Shout out all the wide receiver guys who decided they wanted to go with one running back this roster construction. I think it's a little risky, even as the wide receiver guy. But yeah, peace out, guys.
Peace out, Frank.
See you,
I
man.
appreciate it, buddy. Ryan, anything else you want to add? This draft's been nuts, dude. Over 35 trades in a startup draft.
There's some things I want to. I just want to look over the board. You got anything else to say? Go ahead. I just want to see. I'm sure there's things I saw in the draft where I'm like, okay. I do want to say Vikings, and it's hilarious. Vikings and who's the other guy that has all the receivers? They're so opposites, but the same team, because one has a stack roster full of old rookies or old running backs. The other one has a stack roster full of old receivers. I think that's
Cody.
hilarious.
That's Cody.
That's Cody.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
We should make them play week 1 before all their old guys get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. Mandatory week 1 matchup.
Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
But no,
I think everybody has a good construction. Outside of the Stevens guy, I keep forgetting his name, Sean.
Allen.
His name. Allen.
Talking about the one with Kirk Cousins at QB.
No. The guy with all the 2023 first.
Oh, Davis.
He's got like 8 rookies already on his team right now.
Yeah, Drake.
I think everybody.
What's he got? London.
On paper has a shot to win right now.
What's he got? London, Olave, Watson.
He's got more than that. He's got, I think I counted 8 rookies. He's got London, Olave, Watson, Rashad White, John Mechie, Brian Robinson, David Bell, Wandale Robinson.
Shoo, yeah, he did. And like I said, he's going to attack the 2023 class heavy.
Yeah.
I like Drake London. I think he's a great addition to any wide receiver room. Same with Garrett Wilson. I was happy that Cody got him at 7-5. I thought that was a great pick for him. Now
that's the biggest. That's the thing. That's the gap. You're talking about 4th round, and then you get the next rookie receiver in the 7th round.
Bro, I took the first rookie. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I can't sit here and talk shit
about receivers.
Drake London over Stephon Diggs.
Oh no, I can't say I agree with that.
Over T. Higgins. Over
Tyreek.
Tyreek.
No. I get what y'all are saying.
But hey, like you said, get your guy.
Get your guy. And like I said, if Brees somehow doesn't work out, I have to eat the fact that I drafted him over Mixon and all these other guys. So
yeah, you might have drafted like Bishop Sankey. You never know.
I hope not. Don't say no shit like that.
Wow, Bishop Sankey. Oh my God.
That's a name. He was going 101 in rookie drafts. I don't know if you guys were doing Dynasty then, but he was going right there.
I wasn't, but the hype was there. I fell for it one year, man.
I don't know, man. Like prospects like Brees Hall, and I mean, I know anybody's not guaranteed to be great, but when the profile and the college domination and then the numbers and the athletic grade just stand out like that to me screams, go get that guy. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it works every time. Obviously, it doesn't.
I get it, but like, does something like that just stand out because we're so dynasty rookie hungry, and he's the best prospect in a lower talented class that we feel like we're pushing more hype to him than he actually is going to be able to prove on the field?
It's a possibility. And me and Ryan have talked about it. I think Brees Hall's in a tier of his own in this class. I think he stands out amongst Kenneth Walker, any of these other guys. And like I said, I like what the Jets are doing, man. Like I said, I think Joe Douglas has an A+ draft. I like the additions of the offseason. I just like what they're doing in general in New York. Same in Detroit. I'm buying in on both teams. I don't think they're fades in any shape of the form. Like I said, the NFL changes all the time, but I think Brees Hall fits in well. I think they got a good culture. I think they're gonna play better than a lot of people think.
Yeah, I'm with you. I can see it happening. I just don't know about this class. I do think Brees Hall is in a tier of his own as far as the running back class, but I do think James Cook is kind of getting overlooked a little bit in Buffalo.
I agree with you. I thought that was a great pick.
He is a really, really talented pass catcher out of the backfield. I mean, his route running is crisp. I mean, Josh Allen has never been one to check the ball down. But like you brought up in the previous pod, I mean, is he really trying to check down the Singletary or Zach Moss? I don't think so. I mean, Duke Johnson got a little bit of love. No, he wasn't there, was he? Am I tripping?
No, yeah, it was.
No, he was in Miami.
TJ Yeldon, you talking about?
TJ Yeldon, yeah, there we go. That's not who I was thinking of, but we're gonna roll with it. I'll eat my own words there. He's never had a running back to throw to.
To your point, shows great signs for James Cook. I mean, they went to try to go get McKissick, if you remember. He's a big receiving back. Obviously, had a plan for him to go out of their way to get him. They just did that in the draft with James Cook. So I think they got a plan for him. I think they're going to use him a lot.
Yeah, it could really open up that field.
I think they're sold on either of their running backs, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, though. The last 9-game stretch, Devin Singletary looked really good. And obviously, we don't buy into 9-game stretches because he didn't look very good in the first 2 years of his career. But Moss has looked awful, and I think James Cook can take over Zach Moss during the preseason with strong play.
I think he already did.
Yeah, I mean, 2nd-round capital. I don't know what the plan is in Buffalo. James Cook didn't have a whole lot of rushing attempts. You know what I mean? Granted, he did play in a loaded backfield with Zamir White as well.
Well, that's good though.
That is good. I want to see, like, they say he's undersized. I don't know. I mean, I don't really think so, but we'll see. I think he's going to get touches. I do. And I like the pick for you. I'm sure you want your handcuff though. You can probably get Singletary cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good draft, man. I can't wait to see how this league plays out. The only thing is, fellas, my last thing I want to bring up amongst 3 of the commissioners. AJ, I like what you do in your league, our rivals. I love the rivalry matchups that we do. And I love that the added fees that we pay into your league go towards something at the end of the year for a player. Dustin was the winner of your jersey this year. No,
CJ actually won.
CJ,
I mean, I can touch on it a little bit. So, Deli, I don't know if you know. So I have a rivalry week. So, what that means is we started it last year, week 1, and the last week of the season, which was 14. Week 1 and 14, you play your rival. Whoever has the greatest point differential between their 2 combined matchups, as far as all 10 rivals, actually wins a jersey of their choice. We all put extra money in towards the fees. So CJ had the highest point differential. I think it was like 73.8, and Dustin was like 72.9. That's how close it was between the 2 matchups. CJ actually lost his first matchup and then blew his opponent out the second matchup by like 110. So he ended up winning the jersey. So he picked the black Lamar Jackson jersey, which he'll get at the draft next week.
Nice. So how do you get your rival? It's just like the team.
So I didn't know how to do it last year. So I put it in the group chat. I was like, just call your guy out, whoever it is. Steven actually went first, or I think it was him. He called Joey out. They actually played in the championship the previous year. Steven being a Steelers fan, Joey being a Ravens fan, it was only right. So they were rivals. And then, et cetera, people just started calling each other out. Cody and I ended up being last. And we played week 1, and I beat Cody in an absolute shootout 255 to 245. And our teams just went bananas. And then he ended up beating me in the championship, coincidentally, as a rival. So that was real bitter in my own league. So yeah.
And I also three-peated Joey in this league as well.
Nice.
Yeah, it was it was a fun time, man. The guys that we have in AJ's league are a great group of guys. Hard to get together all the time, though. I ain't gonna lie to you. It is hard for all of us to get together at times, but it's a great group. It's fun. And Joey is one of the biggest shit talkers you will meet. It is hilarious.
Yeah, we can look into like a rivalry week for like next year. I think we get acclimated with each other. Maybe people start talking shit in the middle of this season. Try that next year.
I also do the bonus player of the week as well. So we do like a randomized for the position beginning of the season. So week 1 might be quarterback, tight end, whatever the case might be. Winner wins $25 that week if they have the highest starting player at that position, which adds a little extra incentive to it. It's $25 in your pocket if you had Travis Kelce win tight end of the week. I've had him on my team the last 3 years, and he's won tight end of the week, I think, 4 times.
Every week.
Yeah. So, it's a nice advantage. In Chuntz's league, which his is more high dollar, his is a $200 buy-in. His is $50 player of the week. I won it 5 times last year, 4 with Patrick Mahomes. So he won me my whole buy-in just alone. It just happened to have his 4 best weeks last year on player of the week. So it makes it a little bit more fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. That's the one thing I wanted to talk to you guys. I think we need to incorporate something like that, keep it fresh.
Absolutely.
And I'm also willing to talk in a buy-in upgrade just for a nice trophy or a belt for the league. I think that incentive is always nice to have as well. Brian, we do one for your league. AJ, we do one for yours. Chuntz has one as well. Only something that we need to talk about.
We need to get Trophy Smack as a sponsor.
Yeah,
Shout out Trophy Smack.
Trophy Smack.
Get yourself a ring.
We got to wrap this podcast up. Continue this conversation on the other side.
Yeah. But Tuesday, mock draft. We have us 4, and then I have 2 guys joining. Does anybody else have anybody joining?
I got a couple people. As long as they're good to go that night, that are already.
So we're looking at 10. I have 2. We have 4. I'm sorry, 8. Excuse me. Shoot my math off.
Time for bed.
Yeah, time for bed. So we have 8. That'd be a great mock draft. We're going to do just a 2-round mock draft out of this rookie class. Other than that, that's all I got. Fellas, like I said, we are in round 17. We're almost done with this 25-round draft. Good luck. Ryan, who's going to win it all this year? Who you got winning it all?
Me, baby.
Good call. I'm going to take myself. AJ, you taking yourself?
I'm going to take myself. I'm going to take my trio to represent half of the playoffs. That's a little something. A little bragging rights as a commish.
I just want to say, AJ, I do fucking love your team. I'll keep going back to him like, damn, he's fucking killing this shit.
Appreciate it. I hope I love it.
I think we all had good drafts. I mean, you pulled.
Yeah, I really did.
I think we all had good drafts, to be honest.
I had to get my boy Tom Brady. I know he's old. I know you guys were like, of course he got Brady. But, I mean, I got him in the 7th round as my QB2. Pair up with Dak. I mean, I'm not mad at that at all.
Actually, Allen was going to go back-to-back QBs and take Brady and Cousins in round 7.
He sent me about 5 offers for Brady. And I told him, I was like, if I'm giving up Brady, you got to give me Cousins back. I need a quarterback now. He won't even respond to that. He'll just send me a 2023 2nd and a 4th. I'm like, I don't want that, dude.
I got you. But
I love it, though. He's trying.
I mean, realistically, me and Ryan told you this in our QB podcast. You'll never get what you want for Tom Brady. Obviously, the production won't match the age and dynasty. I think he's just one that's going to die on your roster, and you just have to live with that.
I'm okay with it. I got Davis Mills behind him.
I bet you are okay with it. But all right, fellas, man, it's been real. It's been fun. Like I said, happy Mother's Day weekend. You guys have a good Monday. All right, guys, we're out.
Yep.
All right, peace.